Ambassador Dr. Pete Edochie, MON. I am happy that when Nigeria became independent in 1960, I was already in the secondary school, and I remember how the Union Jack was lowered and our own flag was raised. We felt very happy. We had plenty of aspirations, you know. Now, when still in the secondary school, we read a story about 6 blind men from Hindustan who went to see an elephant. Blind men went to see an elephant. Good. The first one touched the tusk of the elephant and said, "Ah, this elephant is a very hard animal." Another one touched the lobes of the ear, the very soft animal. Another one touched the tail, says it's woolly. Another one touched the body, says it is rough. They were all right. So you see, it's a question of perspective. I will talk about Nigeria from my own perspective and what part of Nigeria I belong to. The Civil War lasted for almost 3 years and ended in 1970. But for us in this part of the country, it doesn't really appear as if that war has ended, because the circumstances that precipitated that war are still being replicated today. Igbos are known as very big travelers. Igbos are very big marketers. But when it became absolutely necessary to resuscitate the railways, the entire Southeast was cut off. Up till this moment, nobody has offered any convincing explanation as to why it happened. It was purely punitive. So if you ask me about the progress we have made, I will tell you that we in these parts have been entirely forgotten, and it is deliberate. We have a very big problem in Nigeria. That problem is tribe. We have tribe, we have religion. In Britain, where I trained as a broadcaster, if you were born in Britain, you are a British citizen. You're entitled to aspire to any political level you wish. We have not experimented with that in Nigeria, and it's one of the biggest problems we have. Why have we not? There's no explanation. There is none whatsoever. Today we talk about a lot of violence, a lot of insecurity. Why haven't we practiced engaging state police? You see, I will tell you what a lot of people may not agree with, but I'm stating the truth. The Nigerian police is very, very easily one of the best in the whole world. Go and steal a vehicle belonging to the commissioner of police. Before the sun goes down, you'll be caught, no matter where you try to hide. That's to tell you that when the Nigerian police wants to work, it can really work, right? So why haven't we experimented with state police? So at least we can beat down the level of insecurity that is ravaging the entire countryside today. Why? Because it suits the whims and caprices of some individuals to keep us all under siege. There are 3 major tribes in this country. We have Hausa, we have Igbo, we have Yoruba. Okay. If a Yoruba man comes to Enugu for youth service and he does very well, and the government of Enugu State provides him employment, he will thank the governor and go home. He won't come back. Let's imagine that Hausa man has distinguished himself in Ebonyi State for his youth service. And the Ebonyi State government says, in appreciation, we're going to give you this parcel of land in addition to employment. He will thank the governor and he will disappear. Offer an Igbo man an employment after his youth service anywhere in the country. He will accept the employment. He will thank the government. He will stay there and do that job. What is the first thing he's going to do? He walks around the entire community. He looks for whatever it takes to sustain life on a daily basis, but is not accessible to these people. He builds a small kiosk and begins to stock those materials. Before you know it, because of sustained patronage, he begins to expand that kiosk. He will now proceed to engage a lady from that community to serve as some help to him. He ends up marrying that lady. He builds a big flourishing trade purely by stocking what those people need on a daily basis. At the end of the day, you turn around and say, he has come to dominate you. What? You know, sometimes I look at the country and I weep, and I say to myself, Pete, did you really ask to be here? No. The God that created me in Nigeria did not make a mistake. Why can't we tolerate each other by exploiting the various talents that we have? I was born and raised in northern Nigeria. I speak Hausa very fluently. Most of the friends I had growing up were from the north, and until the war began and I was compelled to migrate southwards, I was enjoying my life in the north thoroughly. It is no longer the same today, no, because politicians decided to misconstrue every effort of ours. If you're thinking in terms of nationalism, who actually is a nationalist? Is it the man that will never go beyond his natural habitat to develop any place? Or the person who decides that he must find solace, peace, wherever he finds himself and decides to settle there? Who really is the nationalist? I'm an Igbo man. Why must we be hunted for the talent that God has given to us? Why? So you see, when I think about what I see from these parts, do I really have cause to hope? A Latin proverb says, Dum spiro spero. While I breathe, I hope. I'm not quite sure it applies to me as an Igbo man in these parts. You know, I started by telling you the story of 6 blind men, which simply means that other people from other parts of the country who certainly have benefited from this system must see things differently. I'm only seeing them from my own perspective as somebody who belongs to these parts and who can claim justifiably that we have been deliberately ignored, deliberately exploited, deliberately skipped in all the arrangements. And that is not in the collective corporate interest of the entire country, So can things go back the way they used to be? When we had just 4 regions, things were a lot better. Today we have 36 states, and state consciousness dominates everything that is being done in the country. You go to look for a job, you are told, first of all, that anybody from that state must give them preference before you. It's understandable, right? But it's not necessarily the best. If actually you qualify for the job you're applying for, that's an indication that you can promote that society to which you belong. May not be in your own state, but where you find yourself. That is what I prefer to define as progress. What we are doing is not progress. The problem we have is that we, we hardly have values to project. All right, let's talk about elections. What we have are not really elections, but selections. People get selected, they're not voted for. And because of that, many more people have lost interest in our voting system. For example, in these parts, right, with no confidence anywhere in our voting system. Ask the Southeasterners now, come and join the police, come and join the other company. They're not interested because they feel that they're hard done by. I mean, no matter how much they try, they must be rubbish, they must be exploited. A Chinese proverb says the closed mouth catches no flies. If you stay on your own, nobody's going to bother you. That reaction is not the best, but it was dictated by something, you know. Is It is difficult for us in the movie industry to find values to project. And I am being extremely honest to you. I'm one of the oldest in the industry right now, if not the oldest really, because after Ulu, I come next. Ulu has been in this place for a while now, so I see myself now the father of the industry. And speaking to you in all earnestness, it's what values are we really going to project? The only time Nigerians act as one is when the Green Eagles are playing. Everybody wants Nigeria to win. Wherever you are, you forget about what part of Nigeria you come from, right? You are watching Lukman, you are watching Osimhen, you are watching one goal to be scored. The moment we win, everybody is drinking. We are so happy. By the time we drink off the effects of that victory, we go back to whatever we have always been, right? I come from this part of the country. You come from this part of the country. There is actually nothing that can bind us, nothing that can get us together. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Now, we're not going to shoot films that will concentrate on football. That doesn't make sense. Football only involves us in competitions, and it doesn't happen every day or every other month. It happens maybe yearly, 2 yearly, So it's difficult for us, If you become the president, your people want to get the best out of the country because this is their opportunity, this is their time. So all the juicy appointments will go to your own people. And then others are praying, let it get to us so we can do the same, right? When do you start correcting injustices? It's not easy. It's not easy, right? If we had graces to project, if we had values, if we had morals to live on, we could project all these and help to ameliorate the sickening situation in the society. I was at an occasion yesterday, the also titled people of the country were doing their own Iwaji, that is the Yam Festival. I was the chairman of the occasion. It was very, very colorful. Now, for you to be an also titled person, You have to possess integrity. You will not be accepted into that cultural society if your means of livelihood are not determined, are not visible, you know. No matter how much you must have endeavored to acquire some wealth, if the means of acquiring the wealth is not transparent, you will not be accepted into that cultural society. Yeah, you will not. All the Igbos get together, pick one single day, and say, today, anyị ncha ga-awaji ebe ọ bụ na onye Igbo nọ. Fine. We are the only people who pray with the kola nut. The other people will break this kola nut and chew this thing and just go, oh, no, 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 it's not the same with us. We believe that we have some kind of understanding with the Almighty God, some agreement with Him, that whenever we bring out this kola nut, we must remind ourselves that we are alive today purely by the grace of God, not because we wish it. This is why when we pick up the kola nut, we don't pray in English or in any other language. We pray in the language that is indigenous to us. We don't expect everybody to be an also titled person. But I think there is a lot of lesson to be learned from the prerequisites for being an also titled person. You know, if we had Nigerians we could talk to in such a platform and allow them to move out and experiment with our ideals, an also titled person should not lie. Actually cannot lie no matter his mortality. Yeah. I'm an also titled person. No matter what happens, I will not lie to you. No. If we as Ndi Ozo say we have to exhibit some measure of transparent integrity, this is the reason why it's it's a unique cultural society. It's embedded in our tradition. And as a Ndigbo, even before the coming of the white man, we had our values, right? We didn't call it democracy, but there is something called primogeniture. You are the first in the family. The responsibility for running the family after your father must have gone is yours. Then we have various cultural levels in the society. This group now have the responsibility of administering the entire community, etc. After they moved out, another group moved, you know, we had all those things. They still are there, but all these values were suppressed by the white man, and they supplanted them with their own, giving us the impression that if we did ours, then we were, what that expression that they normally use, if you don't believe in their own values, then you're a pagan. You're something probably worse than that, right? But it served us well before they came. And I know today that in various parts of this country, if you go to Yoruba land, right, they are one group that does not joke with their culture. You go to the north, it's the same thing. In the north, there's a very big respect for seniors. I grew up there. In the west, in Yoruba land, it's the same thing. In Urobo land, it's the same thing. You know, when an elder speaks, others listen. In our individual cultural societies, we have these values. But when we get together, these values are smothered. Maybe some of them kind of emulation, and you begin to wonder why it is so. Once upon a time, I was made the chairman for rebranding Nigeria. We were doing some wonderful work. People were drawn from different parts of the country, from various segments of society, to make up that group that was mandated to redefine our values, restructure our beliefs. We were moving on very well. In the morning when we assemble, I tell the people who are Muslims and who are Christians, if we all believe in the same God, there is no reason why we can't have one language to make us understand the God we are praying to. Umtaz, sir, good. Today you are going to pray. You're a Muslim, right? I know you are supposed to pray in Arabic. Let us evolve a system that will make us purely Nigerians. Say your own prayer in English for a change. Let us all say Amen at the end of your prayer. So we don't have any need again for the Christians to pray. And we did it like that. And it was working marvelously. You saw the kind of peace within that, By the way, my name was given to Jonathan as the chairman, and Jonathan said, yes, I've watched this man's films. He's a very strict person. He can help to restructure this country properly. And well, I felt very happy. I didn't know that the president has been watching me, Suddenly, I don't know, I think there was a change of government or something, and we're all scattered. I don't remember what happened now, because the Minister for Information then was Dora Akunyele, because we held our first meeting in her office, I don't remember what happened now. I remember that we had a meeting and my phone was rebranded. I lost my phone at that meeting. And I told the minister, Dora, I said, my phone has been rebranded. We looked at her. She bought me another phone because mine had been rebranded. But even there, with all the sacrosanctity that environment enjoyed, people still stole our phones there. I know why I am telling you this, how to transmit our values, the vehicle for transmitting these values. That is where the problem is, because ordinarily we want to pass these things on to the succeeding generation. But you see, the eyes will first of all experience before the mouth consumes. Because they are already seeing this thing. It's not what they expect. If they see our elections to be transparent, to be very clean, to reflect integrity, then they would have been learning. They will now say, oh, these are values we must treasure. The elections have not given them such values. So what are they going to hold on to? Like I said, if we had transparent elections, nothing can be as didactic as that. The children can say, this was done very well. So let's go to the local government level and do it as it was done nationally. Nobody cheats, so, right? Two of you come and stand here. Those who feel that this man is right, this way. It was done by Professor, it was called Option A4. It was the best election we have had in this country, Abiola's election. Nobody could contest this thing. It was so clean. It was so transparent. Babangida cancelled this thing. Since then, we haven't had any election you could say it reflected integrity. There is none. I mean, at my age, I am 78. I'll be 79 in March next year. We haven't had anything like that. In other words, if we are subjected to any kind of system that reflects integrity, we shall all fail. That's what it means. If we believe in this country, we should all react like Igbo people. Settle down wherever you find yourself and make a home there. That is what is meant by being a Nigerian. And by the way, let other Nigerians move around. And why did Gowon's regime introduce the youth service scheme? It's for people to get to know other parts of the country. Now, if you get to know those parts of the country, only for it to run back to your small enclave, then the scheme is not useful. If you would go down to other parts of the country outside your own, and you are asked to settle down there, and you are not convinced you ought to stay there, what is the value, what is the essence of that youth service scheme? So you're suggesting to Nigerians, do this, do that. You have to start with integrity. Integrity matters a lot. That's what defines a man. Let us give this man this money. He can keep it for us. Please give it to the other man. Yeah, because the last time we had a meeting, we gave this man 5,000. 3 weeks after, we invited him. He brought the money. But that man you first suggested, we gave him the same amount. 3 weeks after he came back, only 1,000 naira was left. And he said his father was sick, his mother. So let's settle for who we know. That is integrity. Diaphanous integrity. Transparent integrity. Integrity you can live by. That's it. And how do you develop this and transmit it to other parts of the country? By pleading with Nigerians. Move around and settle in other places. So you can get to, this is why the youth service scheme was introduced. Settle in other places. Don't see somebody who is not from your own state as a stranger. No. Nigerians can settle anywhere. If you begin to discriminate against fellow Nigerians, you begin to introduce xenophobia within the country that we all live in, then what values are we supposed to thrive on? What hope does the succeeding generation have? People who told us 40 years ago, you are the leaders of tomorrow, they are still there. 40 years ago, you are the leaders of tomorrow, they are still there. When others are supposed to lead now, in 40 years, people to hang on to office and stay like Paul B and Co., that's not very good.